The last time we talked to David Waters about the Florida recruiting class, it was a couple weeks ago, and the Gators were ranked as high as 80th. Yeah, and as low as like 100th. And we didn't actually think that it was going to land that way for the Florida Gators. Too much talent in the state. Jim McElwain putting on the charge in the last few weeks. And the Florida Gator recruiting class, maybe not what it needs to be to win national championships in the future, but for right now, this was a very strong finish for the Gators. We bring in David Waters of SEC Sports Insider to talk about this recruiting class and really the linchpin of the entire class, the guy that kind of made it from a respectable class to a fringe, hey, we got something here. This is a really good run, and where Gator fans really feel good about this, David, would be the Martez Ivey signing and stealing him away from the Auburn Tigers.
Yeah. Before that, there have been many recruits who had either spurned Florida, in favor of Auburn. So everybody was kind of on the iffy stage of the whole class. And then when Ivey went up to the podium and spoke for the Gators, it kind of got the ball rolling a little bit. It really filled the need on the offensive line. That was a big hit for Florida today. They signed 5 offensive linemen, but you said starting with Ivey, he's the big-time guy. 8 offensive linemen coming back, and more than likely he's going to step right in and compete from day one, starting at left tackle. There's going to be a little bit of competition there from guys who played last year, but, he puts on a little bit of weight. The only worry about him, and this is probably nitpicking, is he played in a run-heavy offense in high school. So, it's his pass protection there, from all the reviews from all the camps and all-star games, nothing to worry about there. But, you can see some stuff in camp maybe. But, yeah, he's there. McElwain's going to look at him to come in day one and compete for a starting job.
David, when you look at the top 5 players in this recruiting class, at least according to most of the rankings, it starts with Ivey, 5th-rated player overall by ESPN, number 1 or 2 at his position. Then you go through the rest of these guys. Jim McElwain was able to get this job around bowl time, postseason play, still put a fence around the state and wrap up a lot of really talented players within the state of Florida and not let them get away. And the huge focus, of course, is on offense because this program has been starving for offense since about 2009, 2010?
Post Tebow, exactly. So it's offense was the heavy part. It's McElwain's forte, so it's definitely what he came in and hit. Overall, of the 21 commits that the team has, 5 were originally Muschamp recruits. McElwain brought in 16 of his own guys. Like you said, most of them are offense, but McElwain, like you said, he had the benefit of coming in, kind of a month before the dead period and allow him to, establish some relationships. And boy, did he on the offense. The 2 big running backs from South Florida, you had Jordan Cronkite, who committed today, Jordan Scarlett a couple of days ago. I really like Scarlett. Scarlett can be McElwain's Trent Richardson if you want to compare it to his Alabama days. Need to bulk up a little bit more, but he's that style of back. And got a receiver from another receiver from South Florida, Antonio Callaway. Kind of a surprise. It was a battle between Florida and Miami. Most thought he would choose Miami. Ryan Davis ended up choosing Auburn today, so that kind of opened up a spot. If there's one complaint about the offense, it was not getting enough receivers. Callaway really is the only big-time receiver. They have another receiver from here, Khalif Jackson, who was an early enrollee, but he was kind of a moved hybrid tight end guy. So really Callaway's the only true receiver that they brought in. I said earlier they brought in 5 offensive linemen, area of need. Tyler Jordan here from here in Jacksonville was McElwain in his press conference today. Had to give him a shout out because he was there almost every weekend for the last 3 weekends for all these official visits. He was the official team recruiter, McElwain called him. So he was the guy who helped bring a lot of these guys in.
In particular, I'm interested, David, to see how many carries Jordan Scarlett's able to wrestle away from Kelvin Taylor, who pretty much had the same productivity as a freshman than he did as a sophomore, right around 700 yards rushing, about 4.5 yards per carry. Considering the offensive lack of productivity on the outside and a lot of teams loading the box, I thought he played pretty well. He was a #1 rated running back coming out of high school, and now Scarlett. This is the way you have to play it when you're a top program. You have to bring in the numbers and really challenge some guys. So it's going to be interesting to see where the ball is distributed, and if Scarlett's able to take some carries away.
Yeah, I mean, and Matt Jones, declared early for the draft, so that's going to open up a little spot there. But he was kind of the more power back for Florida. Scarlett can really probably step right in and take over that role. But yeah, I mean, but also we saw in the bowl game, Adam Lane's kind of that same little power top guy. So I mean, that's probably going to be your 3 top running backs going into spring. Well, I mean, Scarlett won't be in the spring; he'll be coming in fall. So, guys, fall camp, be Taylor, Lane, and Scarlett. But everybody likes this Cronkite kid. A little more slasher, so he's probably, he's going to be the little more slash type guy that they really don't have in Taylor, Lane, or Scarlett. So he's going to be a little nice addition, change of pace back.
And like we talked about before we came on, David, now Jim McElwain can actually get used to and familiar with his own football team. He's probably seen more tape on these recruits than he has his own football team.
Right.
Coming in just a few weeks before the Birmingham Bowl. Jim McElwain, again, it's so difficult to recruit in the SEC. Well, you've got so much talent right there, but in regards to winning the recruiting battles with so much competition there that you can be 20th in the country, like Florida is roughly in that range, and you can be like 10th in the SEC according to the recruiting rankings. But McElwain's got to be happy about the 21 signees that he has, and that he was able to make this kind of push. And obviously, Ivey's the diamond right there in the middle of the whole deal. So just in regards to what you heard out of the coach today, he's got to be pretty pleased.
Oh, he was, and he was really spoke to the defensive ends in particular, saying kind of underrated guys, but guys he really feels like he can step in and develop. But I think the hidden gem in the class, kind of where if you kind of look around to what some recruiting services were saying, Jabari Zuniga out of Georgia, everybody's saying he's got the mold and the attitude of just a mean defensive end. Defensive tackle, kind of like Dominic Easley back in the day from Florida. Could kind of move in and outside, but big, powerful, mean-looking guy. But C.C. Jefferson from right down the road outside of Jacksonville here, that was another 5-star who committed to Florida. It was kind of he got after Ivey, he kind of stepped right in and kept the ball rolling for Florida. A lot of people, thought he could be going to Ole Miss, little shouts of Auburn maybe, but he stayed with the home state Gators. He said he's, been a Gator fan his whole life. His dad has a Gator tattoo on his arm, but he played the recruiting game pretty well. He enjoyed his trips to Ole Miss and enjoyed his trips to Auburn. Nobody really knew where he was going. He, shouted out today he's a Gator, big Gator chomp at his house today during the press conference. So, it was McElwain, hit on him. He hasn't. See, one thing about CC right now, he still hasn't sent his letter of intent in, but he did a radio interview. There's no worry there. He's, it's been raining here all day. He did the thing at his house, so he said he'll fax his letter in first thing tomorrow morning. There's no worry there. No Byron Cowart situation where we're waiting and worrying if he's going to be a Gator. But McElwain hit his press conference with a lot of generalities. He didn't really speak too much for the guys he got. Didn't really name names too much, to single guys out. But you could tell generally he was excited, and he made some inroads in the little short time that he had.
And I think that's pretty standard that these guys, these head coaches, don't want to single out particular players because, wow, I saw a couple articles today where we're talking NFL teams with 20 and 25 guys that are 2- and 3-star athletes that made it all the way to the NFL and are productive players in the NFL. So we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, the recruiting rankings mean something, and the players that are expected to be the impact players typically are, but there are going to be some 2- and 3-star guys off this Florida class that we're not talking about right now that will make an impact, and there's going to be probably one or two guys out of the 6 or 7 that we mentioned that fall back and aren't quite the players that they were expected to be. And as you well know, McElwain has said over and over since he got the job that he really was looking for defensive ends and offensive line depth, and I think he pretty much hit the mark in those areas as well.
Right.
David Waters, SEC Sports Insider. David, we always appreciate the rundown on the Gators.
All right, Mark, thanks very much.